December the 12th, 1950. And that was the same day I got my orders to go to Korea. So we found an apartment someplace in Columbus, Georgia, by the owners were Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They were very nice to us and very nice people.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and while I was, when I had a honeymoon, Becky had to come to the train station over there, and the trucks. We were unloading all the equipment of the regiment, the 15th Infantry Regiment.
Right, right.
So that's what then I went to the United States all the way to California,
Mm-hmm.
and we picked up the ship over there, went over to Japan, I spent about a week or something like that, and then they took me out of the regiment and sent me to Korea.
Okay.
As soon as I got to Japan, they needed officers in Korea, so they sent me. But when I reported to my regiment, I told them, I'm a captain, I need a company, I'm supposed to be company commander. They said, well, we cannot give you a company because the only company available is run by Lieutenant Walker. And he was the son of the general that was commanding the 8th Army over Korea.
Mm-hmm.
So we said, what do you want me to do? That's what the colonel told me, take it away from here and give it to you. Then they throw me out of here too. But we kept fighting all the way at that time was when the Incheon landing happened too, okay?
What was that?
Incheon is a famous
Incheon
battle.
landing that they make an amphibious attack over there. In other words, they split the North Koreans from their home base, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We kept fighting all the way from, remember, I report to the regiment that was then in Keiron, North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
We kept fighting all the way to almost to the Yalu River. And sometime around Thanksgiving on November, we were getting close to China. And then the day before the Chinese came into the war, this colonel came over and said, hey, Captain, get in this plane. I said, for what? I said, we're going back to Busan. Which one? I said, what are we going to do in Busan? I said, to train the United Nations forces. You had Turks, Thailanders, Colombians, there's all kind of different Australians.
Mm-hmm.
So we were in the training camp of training them how to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember they assigned me with the Turk division.
Oh, goodness.
I remember the name of the captain that I was supposed to be his advisor. And when the Turks get in the battle, we won with the Turks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then after that, when the Chinese came in, I was over what they call the Chosan Reservoir. And that night, after I left, they attacked. About 100,000 Chinese came into the war. And I was lucky that I was not caught in the middle of that, because that was one of the worst retreats and one of the worst experiences in a war that anybody can have.
Okay.
So I did my part of fighting and was not when the Chinese came in. And so I came over, I was in the United Nations, and trained the Turks. Later on, they transferred me back to Busan.
Okay.
And I was they assigned me as a security officer of a PW war enclosure
Uh-oh.
in the island of Kojedo. I remember that they set up all the tents for the prisoners to sleep in, and all the fences all around the perimeter. There are about 100,000 prisoners. It was not
Gracious.
like they have, say, now 70 or 80. At that time, there were a lot. And some of them were North Koreans, some others were South Koreans, the others were Chinese. And they kept fighting all the way to the north. They kicked the Chinese all the way to the 38 parallel. That's where they stopped the battle.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to the security officer of that place, we set up all the tents, all the field wire all around that, what that kind of wire, spur wire, what do they call it?
Alambre púas.
Alambre, yeah. And there was a typhoon that night and blew up all the tents.
Oh, goodness.
And we had to guard all those prisoners right in the open. I mean, when you have 100,000, yeah, all in the open. Yeah. But nothing happened because they didn't want to get into the typhoon any more than we did.
Yeah?
So then we had to reconstruct the whole shebang.
Oh, boy. How many men did you have to do this?
Well, I had practically a company to do it.
And how many is in a company?
Oh, about 200 and some. In fact, I had a whole battalion. No, the company. I can't remember what it was. Well, we had a whole bunch of course, there were other officers with me. There was the battalion commander, and then about 3 or 4 more officers. Every one of them has a different duty.
Uh-huh.
But mine was the duty was the security of the whole prisoner of war enclosure.
Wow.
How did you detain 100,000 people?
Well, we had machine guns and rifles.
Did you have to feed them and?
Oh yeah, we fed them and everything. So everybody had different duty. Mine was be sure that none of them escaped.
Wow.
So we did that.
Did anybody try to escape?
No, there was no place to go. You either had to drop in the sea and swim or whatever.
So they flew them into this island.
Corrido Island.
Ah.
And in fact, we had we were all infantrymen. I mean, we didn't care whether they were Chinese, North Korean, or communists or non-communists. We just treated them like prisoners. As far as concerned, they used to come to me, I'm a South Korean, I'm not a communist. I said, I don't care what you are. You are a prisoner, you stay right where you are. And then when I came to the States, they gave the same enclosure to the military police. And they had an insurrection in the officers' compound because the general wanted to look inside and see how come they were arguing about it. And they captured the general over there and kept him over there for a week or 10 days.
This was after you left.
After I left. Because they were trying to treat them like, like people. We didn't care. We treated like, as far as we were concerned, they were the enemy. They weren't the prisoners. So we were infantry when we started to do that.
Okay.
So, let's see, I came to Korea, then we were assigned to Fort Jackson back in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Ken was born there in March the 21st, 1953. I remember I had gone to the hospital to see Becky, and they told me she didn't do nothing. So I came home, and I was taking off my shoes, and when they told me, you come on here, you got a baby boy. So I drove to the hospital inside Fort Jackson, and that was Ken over there, and I think Becky had him. I can't remember exactly what it was. The only thing I knew this, that every night I went to see Becky, Ken, had we had a bunch of babies over there, And all the nurses used to point at him, knowing that I was his father. I said, "This is a cute one." I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. And he used to cry different than the other children. The other children cry wah wah, and Ken used to say wah wah.
He still does.
That's he cried. Plus, he had a lot of hair on him. I mean, he was not.
Not bald.
Yeah, he got a lot of black hair.
Black hair.
Yeah, black hair.
And then it must have
Plus,
fallen out and become blonde later.
no, it hasn't been blonde. It's like just like me. My hair.
Yeah, but light
My
color.
hair was black hair. And I was, that's one of the things I used to say every place. I said, a blue-eyed man with black hair. They never seen like that. I
Oh,
remember that.
okay. All right. So where are we now? We're already in the 53, you said.
53. Then, in 1955, because I didn't make the grade of major, they put me out of the army again. 1955, September, something like that. But I still had my master sergeant rank.
Mm-hmm.
That was my. So I went to some place in Maryland and tried to enlist over there. Say, no, you know, can't get on the sergeant first class. I say, forget it. I kept going to New York, and there was a colonel that I knew in Fort Jackson by the name of Colonel Wild. He was the adjutant general of the army over there he was living in Staten Island. And he went to the Colonel Wild and said, hey, they want to, I need to help in getting my rank that I'm supposed to have. And he said, you go over there to Whitehall and I'm going to call over there. Whitehall, yeah, that's still had the place over there.
Yeah, Whitehall is
Whitehall,
it's a
New
stop.
York,
Yeah.
And tell them,
Downtown, the very bottom by the water.
right, tell them to make a master sergeant. So I went over there, enlisted as a master sergeant. And from there, I went to Fort Devens, Georgia. Ken and Becky still were in South Carolina. And they haven't, then they moved and they bought a house in Littleton, Massachusetts. And we lived there from 55 till sometime in September 56. Then they sent me to Germany. And Ken and Becky joined me, and Bill, they joined me over there in Germany in sometime around December 56.
Which one, Stuttgart or
I
Frankfurt?
was in, first I was in Baumholder.
Baumholder, okay.
Then they sent me from Baumholder, they sent about, I was in Baumholder, I was assigned to an artillery battery.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden they needed some people to organize the first United States atomic outfit. So they called me from there, said, we want you to be the communication chief over here. So I did, and we organized the battalion, whatever it was, they call it, I can't remember. And I established the communication for the whole United States Atomic Command.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to go maneuvers with the British and the Canadians and the people from the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
It was NATO. NATO forces.
Yeah, all the way. No, NATO was not.
Not yet?
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
We used to go maneuvers all around there, and then we spent in '59. We came for Hood, Texas. No, while in Germany, I became part of the Honest John Rocket Battalion. I remember my colonel or battalion commander was the name of Anthony J. DeSanto. He was, to me, he was my hero, and I was his hero. But that way, if he wanted something to be done in that battalion, about the men, he used to come and talk to me. He didn't talk to the battery commanders. I didn't talk to nobody. He come and ask me, what do you think of this? Just kind of, you can, ta. So they were very nice. In fact, they gave me, when I left, they gave me, I picked it up before Texas, the Army Commendation Ribbon. And I spent about from 59, a year and a half over in Texas, in Fort Worth, Texas, and I retired there.
What year was that?
1961.
That was the first time you retired.
Yeah, retired. Okay, and
Okay.
and then they sent me my commission from Washington. They retired me as a captain. Let's put it that way. So I'm a captain. United States Army retired now. I've been like that for how many years? Since 1961, for 40 years.
40 years, wow.
In fact, in April will be 41 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been here ever since. And let's see what I did. Oh, the first job I had in civilian life was selling insurance. First, when we moved over here, we went to Sarasota. And we looked all around there for my house and things like that, but I didn't have a job. I tried to look for a job in Sarasota, and the only job I could find was selling cemetery lots. Yeah, no kidding. So we stayed in a motel over there for about a month, and all of a sudden they called me over there and told me to come here to Tampa to be how you call insurance agent for Connecticut General.
Mm-hmm.
They put me on Connecticut General, they put me on a 3 months salary, sometime in December, my 3 months were over, and they said, now you're on commissions, and I said, goodbye insurance. So I quit. Then I was collecting unemployment, got 2 or 3 checks or something like that. Then I remember Becky's father being here to visit us in 1962. Okay, at the beginning, in January 62. I saw this ad in the paper. I said, hey, there was somebody here in the city of Tampa. I said, oh. So him and I, we drove over there to the city of Tampa to the city hall, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And we went over there, and we met the personnel officer, personnel man, whatever it was Franklin Weir. And I took the test, and he told me, nobody's gonna be better than you are. You're hired right now. So on the 8th of January, 1962, I had a job with the city of Tampa, and I was assigned to the radio engineering bureau of the police department.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so consequently, I went and met the chief of police, and the next, and my boss from the police department was Inspector Barney, and he liked me a lot, and he used to come and visit me all the time in my job, and I'm trying to get more money because I started with a job and I had a good position.
Mm-hmm.
It was not a cheap position, $64 a week.
Wow.
$64 a week, and I stayed there till 1978, and I quit 78. I retired from there, and I came home to stay with Nicole. She was a baby, so I took care of Nicole from 1978, sometime in June, till about July 1979. I was semi-retired because Becky had two flower shops, one in Ruskin. No. At that time, in '78, she had, she didn't have nothing. Yeah. What, 70.
You were already in this house.
Yeah, I was already in this house. Yeah, I bought this house in '71. No, Becky was doing nothing. And
An unusual thing.
then, yeah, we didn't have no business or nothing like that. So,
Stress-free.
so Charlie came over. Yeah, we had the beauty shop over in Sun City Center. We had the beauty shop. And I used to go and take out the books and everything like that. Come take Nicole with me. Every place I went, Nicole was with me. So my job was
She was
taking
just a
care of her.
little girl, right?
And I don't know, Becky had the boutique over here too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 78, Becky had the boutique over here. Because she kept her over there and sold it in 1982. Because the reason we sold it because I got tired of bookkeeping and all that. And so I retired in 78 from the city of Tampa. And I stayed taking care of Nicole till 79. In fact, in February 79, I bought a new, we have leased a new Cougar, different than the ones now. I mean, at that time, I was like a family car. And we drove to North Carolina to take Nicole to see Becky's sister. And while in there, somebody called over here and said that they wanted to talk to me. The sheriff wanted to talk to me. So I called, Ken called me and they said, the sheriff wants to talk to you. So what the heck the sheriff want with me? So I was in February. They offered me a job, said, we want you to take this job. And I said, well, I'll think it over. They held the job till December of '79, so I decided to go to work December the 1st, 1979. I went to work for the sheriff, and I've been there 22 years.
Goodness gracious.
That's amazing.
Wow.
So you got my biography there. Now I'm here sitting in front of you two nuts asking me questions.